Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us here on 590 The Fan. I'm Randy Gardner on Sports Radio STL. Gary B. on assignment. Actually, he's on vacation, basically. Joining me tonight is Brian Higginbotham with the Fighting for Autism organization. And Brian, we talked a little bit before we went on the air. I want to jump right into this. Hour doesn't seem like enough time to give to this great organization. But when you hear the words Fighting for Autism, you hear autism. A lot of people don't know and understand what it is. Put the two, the Fighting For and autism, together.
Sure thing. Well, Fighting for Autism is an autism awareness and advocacy organization. We're headquartered out of Sydney, Australia, and have offices in London as well as St. Louis, Missouri, here where I am. And basically, autism is a neurodevelopmental disability that concentrates everything on social and communication skills. There's a number of signs that parents should be aware of regarding autism, and they should reach out to our website or go online and look those things up and speak with their doctor if they have any concerns. But our organization pushes our mission, our programs, and initiatives through the fight industry. So mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, things of that nature. So that's how the fighting and autism go hand in hand for us. It's our platform for marketing.
When you hear the word autism, I think a lot of people have preconceived notions of what that is, and then they hear now they're going to be in the ring, they're going to fight. How do you address that statement?
Well, yeah, we do get that quite frequently. You know, we no individuals or none of our ambassadors are diagnosed with autism. All of the directors of our organization are parents with children with autism and have a fight background. So we saw that as a platform for us, as a vehicle for us to market autism awareness and acceptance more so than anything else. We've developed quite a few different programs and initiatives surrounding the fight industry for children and parents that live with autism, including a new program that we just rolled out with the kickboxing therapy program, where we introduce children in a neurologist's office environment that have autism and ADHD and other comorbid disabilities or diagnoses to our sport, with doing some pad training and things like that in a therapeutic environment.
When you look at that therapeutic environment, you put a gentleman or a female in that situation, how much further can they go when they're involved in something like this? Because as you told me before, they've been held back before. Now they're getting their opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. You know, autism in general, people don't really understand it's a spectrum disorder. So people fall in all kinds of different areas of the spectrum. There's no real face to autism either, so there's no look to it. You may see somebody and may not know that they have autism. What I like to say is if you don't know somebody with autism, probably the chances are that you just don't know that you know somebody with autism. It affects 1 in 50 children, school-age children in the United States. 1 in 68 overall in the United States are affected with autism and live with it on a daily basis at all various forms of the spectrum. Our therapy program really works out well. It opens up a lot of social and communication cues and skills for kids with autism. Working with a neurologist and some occupational and speech therapists during the program, as well as some of our fighter ambassadors, allow kids to get that one-on-one time with their parents in a therapeutic environment that's friendly, no contact, hitting mitts with their parents. And our ambassadors, who are professional fighters and coaches, work with the kids one-on-one to be able to show them the ropes of our sport. So it allows them to open up in a social environment and learn the ones and twos and learn the discipline associated with our sport, and also have fun while doing it. So it's a great program.
You're listening to Sports Radio STL here on 590, brought to you by Rumble Time Promotions, also brought to you by Sozo STL. You can go to sozostl.com to find out more. Also, RumbleTimePromotions.com to find out more about the fights that are coming up. And this fight is going to be on the November 7th lineup.
Yeah, November 7th, Rumble Time Promotions presents Triumph at Maristar Casino. It's going to be a great card. Pro-Am event. We have some top-level amateurs as well as some area top professionals. Kind of highlighting the card, one of our bigger highlights of the event is a fight that I've been advocating for, that Fighting for Autism, Rumble Time Promotions, and Maristar Casino, everybody's been advocating for, and that's a fight between a gentleman named Garrett Hollive out of American Top Team in South Florida, and he's fighting against a gentleman named David Stefan, the cerebral assassin out of Omaha, Nebraska. Now these two individuals are fighters first and foremost. These guys have been training in the gym 6-7 days a week, 6, 7, 8 hours a day for the last 6 years, and they just happen to have developmental disabilities. Garrett has been diagnosed at a young age with Down syndrome, and David with cerebral palsy. Now, both of these individuals have been held back and discriminated against, quite honestly, from other areas around the country, and not been allowed to take their training to the next level and see how they can compete in the cage. We've opened the doors for that here in Missouri. Rumble Time Promotions, the state of Missouri, the Aspire Sanctioning Alliance, and Fighting for Autism all got together and said, how can we really help these individuals, these fighters, these athletes get their fair shot in the ring? And so that's what's happening November 7th as a feature fight. It's really history in the making.
When you talked earlier about the way this is branched off, you cover the United States section, but there's 3 other venues that are out there.
Yeah, that's right. We're headquartered actually in Sydney, Australia. Christian Mitchell is our president and founder. The organization was founded in Sydney and basically started off as an awareness organization only. We branched out to London. Paul Graney runs our London office and takes care of European operations, and I oversee all of our U.S., Canadian, and Caribbean operations out of here in St. Louis. We've expanded from just a mere autism awareness and acceptance group to offering different programs and initiatives such as our Fighter Ambassador program, our mentoring program, our anti-bullying program, our new kickboxing therapy program, and a few other things that we do with within the community with fundraising and awareness and acceptance events. Rumble Time Promotions is one of our mainstays here. They're one of our first supporting organizations from the fight community here in the St. Louis market. They're always allowing us to spread awareness through their shows, sell shirts for fundraising at their events, and just push us in a big way.
We are live down here at Bobby's on Main Street. If you're listening right now, Friday night, an opportunity to come out and enjoy the St. Louis Cardinals. Multiple screens here within the establishment, so there's no excuse not to come out here. Bobby's on Main Street. Come out and enjoy the game. All the playoffs games will be on the big screens here. Great food, great atmosphere, and of course a lot of drink. We'll talk with them in just a bit. But when you look at what you do for a living, there's got to be so much satisfaction when you see what you're working on come to fruition after all this time.
Absolutely. It's unbelievable. The feeling is nearly a floating feeling when we accomplish some of the things and help some children out. As I mentioned before, all of our directors in our organization are parents of children with autism, so we live it on a day-to-day basis. Our main goal is when we're gone, how is the world going to perceive autism? We want our children to live in the most effective, have the best go at life that they possibly can. So we fight day in and out for acceptance, awareness of autism, as it's such a growing, nearly epidemic level growing issue here across the United States and world for that matter. So it's incredibly satisfying to go through my day, create different initiatives and programs and spread awareness and more so acceptance of what autism really is.
When at the end of the day, there's going to probably be some kind of negative feedback somewhere, whether it's on the web or wherever. How do you address that?
You know, we fight to move forward, as the name of our organization implies. You know, we don't stand for the negativity. Negativity in our particular lives and world is ignorance and the unknown. We try to educate as many people as we can. We kind of embrace it for what it is. We don't really focus on the medical side of autism personally from our organization's perspective. We fully focus on embracing autism and improving quality of life for all the kids and families that live with it every day. Around the world in different areas, people experience all kinds of negativity, and it's unreal. It's very heartbreaking, to be quite honest, to see parents get the raw end of the stick with children that may have meltdowns in public, and which is simply a sensory overload, which a lot of people confuse as a typical tantrum or fit that children may, neurodeveloping children may experience. And it really is a shame, but it's an opportunity for us to really educate people on a more broader level.
Is this something that you can hear about it all day long, but until you come and experience it in person, it might quiet some of the naysayers?
Oh, absolutely. People don't know really what families endure when it comes to raising a child with autism, or numerous children in a lot of cases with autism. You know, it's unreal how much work. I like to call people or parents that live with children with autism superheroes, especially those mothers, single mothers especially out there, single fathers out there that raise a child with autism by themselves. They're superheroes. They go through so much. There's statistics out there that say they're 400% more more work for parents living with children with autism. But overall, if you don't experience it in your personal life or in some faction of your personal life, whether it be directly, indirectly, friends, family, co-workers, neighbors that have children with autism, then you really don't understand what it really is. The kids out there are incredibly intelligent that have autism. They're more so intelligent in a lot of cases than you or I may be. It's just a different operating system, and it's a different way of looking at the world. We all try to fit our children into our typical world, and with autism, you have to kind of look at it from a different perspective and fit your world to them, and kind of change your perspective at how you look at life in a general sense.
And as we head into break here tonight, where can someone go to find out more information?
Fighting for Autism, we primarily push everything through our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/fightingforautism. You can find us online at www.fightingforautism.com or on Twitter at FightForAutism. We also put up some things on Pinterest at Fighting for Autism on Pinterest.
Sounds good. We'll be back with much more with you in just a few moments. We are live down here at Bobby's on Main Street. Stop by. It's Friday night. Nothing else better to do. Come on by, and the Cardinals are on TV. Great food, great refreshments, and the show tonight brought to you by Rumble Time Promotions. November 7th is the big bout that we will be talking much more about here in a few moments. Also, Sozo STL. Check it out. Stay with us. Much more next year on Sports Radio STL on 590 The Fan. And welcome back to Sports Radio STL here on 590 The Fan. I'm Randy Gardner. Gary B. on vacation this evening, enjoying some time off. We are live down here at Bobby's on Main Street, 143 North Main Street in St. Charles to be exact. Friday night. Come out and enjoy the St. Louis Cardinals on television right now. Great beer specials, great food, and a great atmosphere. So come on out and enjoy. Joining me once again here on the show, Brian Higginbotham. The show is sponsored by SozoSTL.com and also Rumble Time Promotions. And that's where we're going to pick this thing up, talking with Brian Higginbotham with Fighting for Autism as we come back into this segment. I want to ask you what makes you different than other organizations out there.
Well, there's a number of organizations that focus on autism awareness and acceptance, and we embrace and love these guys too, because at the end of the day we focus on children and impacting the lives of kids with autism from all kinds of different perspectives. One thing that really differentiates us from other organizations is the way that we handle our finances. Our revenue stream is actually based off of both donations and raised revenue or sales of items and merchandise. We put 100% of our donation revenue back into the community, so we don't pay salaries and take draws and commissions off of our donated revenue. Literally 100% of our revenue stream goes right back into the autism community through our programs and initiatives that we operate.
If you're just joining us, we're talking about Fighting for Autism. Let's go back and kind of refresh everybody about what the whole topic is to begin with. This is going to be a very special evening on November 7th.
Oh yeah, November 7th is going to be a great card. Rumble Time Promotions presents Triumph at Ameristar Casino. We've been advocating with Fighting for Autism, Rumble Time Promotions, Spire Sanctioning Alliance, Ameristar Casino in the state of Missouri for a special fight to take place November 7th at Ameristar. It'll end the amateur portion of the card, and actually is the debut fight between Garrett G Money Holla versus David the Cerebral Assassin Stefan. Garrett Holla is a fighter like any other fighter. He just happens to have Down syndrome. He's been denied his opportunity to fight over the last several years, and Rumble Time Promotions has stepped up to make that happen along with his opponent David Stefan, the cerebral assassin out of Omaha, Nebraska. Happens to have cerebral palsy. He has also been denied his fight against Garrett. So two equally capable individuals from anyone's perspective, equally capable fighters, athletes, are stepping into the cage for the first time and making history at this show at Triumph as the feature fight on the amateur card, making their debut November 7th.
You mentioned before that this is something that's very different for the St. Louis area from Missouri. Is it sanctioned in different parts of the country, or is it disallowed per se?
Well, they've definitely struggled. Garrett and David had a fight scheduled down in Florida several years ago, and got the plug pulled on them by the athletic department, the athletic division of the state of Florida. And so they actually have been denied their right to fight anywhere in the United States. So we're making history in the fact fact that we're trying to open doors for individuals that have developmental disabilities and saying, hey, maybe you're not going to get in the ring and fight, but you have the equal capability, equal right to get on the playing field and play any sport in a sanctioned capacity just as anybody else does, so long as your doctors say that you're medically cleared and it's safe for you to compete. And that's absolutely the case for Garrett and David. These two individuals are top-notch athletes really on the amateur level, despite their labeled disability, which we hate to say labels. It's no labels. When you get in the ring, you're a fighter. No, hands down. These guys have been training both for several years, 6 years for David and Garrett together, both training at some top gyms in the country. And them being denied their legal right to fight in a sanctioned capacity is just horrendous. It's absolutely degrading to anybody with any kind of special need label, if you'd like to call it that. They're better than a lot of 0-0 amateur fighters that you'll see get in the ring for their first time. And they fought for the last 2 years for their right to fight. So it's a very, very special history-making moment for these gentlemen.
Now, is the key word here that makes this thing really stand out sanctioned? Is that the difference?
That's absolutely right. And it's sanctioned by Spire Sanctioning Alliance. Jason Cooper, the director of Spire Sanctioning Alliance here in Missouri, sanctions a variety of amateur mixed martial arts fights. They're a nationally recognized sanctioning body. They've been sanctioning most of the fights around the St. Louis market for a number of years. They have a very strong control process and management process over their officials and rulemaking that really make them stand out compared to other organizations that are out there.
What would you say to someone who has never experienced maybe the holdback or the denial of a child with autism or a disability? They've never experienced that, and as they hear tonight, they don't understand what this step means for not only these kids, but other ones across the country.
Absolutely. This is a huge groundbreaking moment that's happening November 7th at Rumble Time Promotions at Ameristar Casino. These guys are stepping into the ring in a sanctioned capacity to fight when they've been denied. It's going to open doors for a lot of other kids around the world. And what we hope to accomplish with this is for that mother or father or parent or couple or whatever that may be sitting on their couch and has a child with a labeled special need diagnosis that's maybe hesitant to get their child into a soccer program, into a basketball program, or into even a boxing or kickboxing program, or whatever other kind of sporting or athletic environment that is proven to be such a great beneficial tool for children. They may have been a little bit hesitant. We're hoping that this opens their eyes, opens their doors, and says, oh, Garrett did it, David did it, we can do it too. And actually, David has 48 Special Olympics gold medals. He's one of the most in Nebraska's history, so he's an extreme athlete, really, when it comes down to it. And now he's going to test his hand here in the cage. It's going to be a history-making bout, and I look forward very much to seeing somebody get their hand raised, and it's almost disheartening that somebody's got to lose.
We are live out here at Bobby's on Main Street, 143 North Main Street to be exact. Friday night, come out and enjoy the Cardinals. Great food, beer, and entertainment. What a great atmosphere. Come out and enjoy it. We'll be talking with some of the patrons from here in just a little bit. The show tonight brought to you by SozoSTL.com. Also, RumbleTimePromotions.com. That big event that we're talking about here is on November 7th. If you've never been to a boxing match, and I know a lot of people think it's kind of they'll say, well, it's a barbaric activity. But until you physically put yourself in the establishment and stand there and watch two athletes fight it out, it is truly a sport.
Oh man, I can't even describe to you the level that I combat with that question quite frequently. It is absolutely a sport. Imagine a typical basketball game or whatever with breaks. You get breaks in basketball and baseball and football.
And you have other people to rely on.
Absolutely. You don't get a break. It's in the amateur level, it's 3 full minutes, hardcore, in each other's face, throwing punches, getting punched, getting taken down, taking down, going through your game plan, having everything in the world messed up in your mind. The lights, the sound, the crowd, the cheers, the shouts, everything's going on. And at the same time, you're focused on I don't want to get hit in the face, but I got to hit this guy in the face. And ultimately, I want my hand raised at the end of the night. The level of training that these athletes endure, 6, 7, 8 weeks of training camp leading up to a fight that could last 30 seconds is something that you can't even really imagine from an outsider's perspective. I say to everybody that doubts or questions these individuals' athleticism to go spend an hour in the gym with them sparring, or maybe do a grappling training session or something, and see how worn out you really get. It's incredible the level of athleticism that these athletes really put forth out there.
When you look at other team sports, whether it's football, soccer, baseball, one little lapse of judgment usually doesn't cost you the game. There's 8, 9, 10 other people there to pick you up. In boxing, mixed martial arts, any of these sports where it's one-on-one, one slight mistake for the 1/10 of a second can cause you everything you've trained for years.
It could mean lights out, or tap out, or arm broken, or a number of things, and that's the suspense I think that people like to see. Today's world of being needing to see fulfillment in a very short period of time. It could be a 20-second fight. It could go 15 minutes on the professional level, and you're going to see everything from throws and slams and takedowns, and 1 millimeter off could mean the difference of lights out or winning your fight. And it doesn't matter what kind of training you really go forth with that. Your body can only endure a certain level of punishment. So you take that wrong punch or that wrong slam, or the arm bends the wrong way and it snaps, and that's what happens. And I think that's what the crowd likes to see about it at the end of the day. You never really know what's going to do. I've been involved in this business for the last 10 years, and my wife and I will sit there and make friendly bets on the fight card as far as what we know of the fighters on the card and what we think is going to happen. And we're still 50-50. There's no real way to guess or guarantee that one person's going to win or one person's going to lose. It's always a back and forth, and when you count someone out, that's when they're in it for the long haul and end up pulling the trigger.
Now, for all the guys out there who are listening to this on the radio, most people think, boxing, MMA is a man's sport, but you go to these matches and it may be 50% plus female.
Oh, absolutely. The demographics changed. 10, 15 years ago, it was a little different, demographically speaking. Now you have both men and women, sometimes more women than men, and they're cheering on their favorite local fighter, their favorite out-of-town fighter that they may have seen or heard of on the internet, with social media being such a big buzz word for our sport. But yeah, it's great to see the mix of demographics inside the crowd. It really makes for a good overall fight experience. These are not underground fights sitting in the basement of a church or something like that, someplace like you see on Fight Club with in the movies. But Ameristar Casino, top-notch venue for fight shows, one of the best in the area by far, and you will see female fights occasionally on cards. So never count out who you may see on that card.
All right, when we come back, we're going to give you all the information on how you can get tickets to this event. You can go to Rumble Time Promotions 1. That's the easy way to do it. We are live out here at Bobby's on Main Street, 143 North Main. Come out and enjoy the food, the beverages, the entertainment, the atmosphere. It's great out here. We're visiting with Brian Higginbotham for Fighting for Autism. We're talking about the big fights out at the Ameristar on November 7th. Make sure and stay with us. Much more next here on Sports Radio STL, brought to you by SozoSTL.com and also Rumble Time Promotions. Stay with us. And welcome back to Sports Radio STL here on 590 The Fan. I'm Randy Gardner. Gary B, as always, on vacation, because the guy lives the life of, a millionaire. He's always on vacation. We are live out here at Bobby's on Main Street, 143 North Main Street to be exact. Come on out and enjoy the atmosphere, food, beverage, you name it. It's a great place to be. Television's all over the place. Cardinals on TV tonight, so you don't want to miss out on that. Come down and enjoy any night of the week. But we're talking right now with Brian Higginbotham for Fighting for Autism, and you mentioned earlier about a training program for any individual out there who would like to bring their child. Walk us through that a little further.
Yeah, we operate a kickboxing therapy program at Pediatric Neurodevelopmental Center in Chesterfield, Missouri right now, and we're expanding this into other markets, other areas, including Australia, Europe, and all over the United States. It's a great program. It's one-on-one with a parent in a group size of 10. So there's 10 children. Each child participating in the program has their parent present. It's a no contact program. We basically teach mitt work with our fighter ambassadors. So we actually have Joe Warden, who's the coach of UFC featherweight, Alex the Spartan White, who comes out, as well as Kane Royer, who's a local professional and coach over at AOC, Academy of Courage in Wentzville. They both, along with the neurologists and myself, work with a group of the 10 kids with their parents on mitt work, teaching them the fundamentals of striking. And it's an 8-week program, 1 hour per week. It's free for the families. And people can find out more about that on our Facebook page at Fighting for Autism on Facebook. But basically, it's a huge therapeutic tool to introduce our sport of mixed martial arts, kickboxing, combat sports to kids with developmental disabilities like autism and other comorbid disorders like ADHD, anxiety, depression, and things of that nature. So it's all mitt work. It's a really great sensory tool, a therapeutic sensory tool. It's great for peer interaction. It's great for discipline, and that's a huge thing that we put forth. So each parent holds mitts, each child has a set of gloves on, and they learn the ones, twos, and other striking combinations.
Now, Scott Spelbrink, our cameraman here tonight, my right-hand man always, had a great question during the break, and he asked, does this child with autism, does it encourage behavior that, okay, it is okay to punch, or does it almost calm them down and put them in a realization of, I've got to do this at a certain time?
Absolutely. We definitely never encourage children to fight in any fashion, way, shape, or form. We think the ultimate way to go about fighting is taking the traditional route of joining a gym, learning the striking techniques, and getting inside the ring. That's something that we 100% advocate for, especially with our anti-bullying program. Children with autism experience bullying at extremely high rates. I'm sure all of us have seen the videos on Facebook and YouTube and things of that nature of people enduring bullying of any type of sort in schools and outside of schools. This program is more geared for discipline and participation in our sport. When children have mental or breakdowns and things of that nature that are associated with autism in public, it's a sensory overload situation. So we don't expect or ever encourage people to fight or hit or strike or kick or anything along those lines. It's more of a sensory aspect, a sensory therapy tool or a peer integration therapy tool for this particular program. We're seeing wonders.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's some of the feedback that you get from the parents? Are they skeptical at first, and then once they step in and they see what it does?
I think they're more excited at first. They're of the unknown. What am I going to experience here with this program? It's 1 hour per week, 8-week program from start to finish. Then they're awarded a trophy and a certificate of completion. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they get to control and interact with their child in a different level than what they're typically used to. Most children go through occupational and speech therapy, and they're doing things they don't really want to do. This time, they get to have fun. We're seeing smiles on faces. We're seeing some peer interaction that is better than a lot of other therapy programs that a lot of the neurologists that we work with claim to see. So we're seeing great results. It's fantastic.
Now, we are live down here at Bobby's. We're going to be talking to Casey in just a few moments here. Go to SozOSTL.com, one of our major sponsors here on the show. Also, RumbleTimePromotions.com to find out any more about fighting and MMA here in the St. Louis area. Steve Smith, Blake Fisher, the whole group, Bobby Barton, everybody does a great job over there. 143 North Main is where we are at tonight here at Bobby's on Main Street. And we have been talking about this fight all night long. Let's one more time go over all the specifics and where they can get more information before we bring Casey on.
Rumble Time Promotions presents Triumph Friday, November 7th at Ameristar Casino in St. Charles, Missouri. Doors open at 6 p.m. The first bell will ring at 7:30. Tickets start at only $40, just $40. It's amazing. Available from fighters from Metrotix.com or by calling 314-662-2000. You'll see a full night of fights that includes some amateur starting fights leading up to a feature fight between Garrett G. Money Holla versus David the Cerebral Assassin Stefan. You'll also see some pros, the professional debut of Travis Draper. You'll see the fights of Jesse Geringer, Ken Porter, Jake Roberts, and the main event with Johannes Flogger.
Sounds good. And if you've never been to the Ameristar before to see a fight, come out and enjoy it. We talked earlier about most people think, well, MMA, boxing, it's going to be 90% male, 10% female. just the opposite. Sometimes it's more than 50% female in the crowd watching this. It is truly a sport, something you have to see and experience in person.
And it's absolutely family friendly as well. So if you have children that have a desire to watch the fights live, bring them out. You won't ever see fights in the crowd. You won't ever hear too much negativity. You'll hear chanting, of course, and cheering for their favorite fan favorites and things of that nature. But it absolutely is a well-run and managed event.
It mimics fights that you see on television from Las Vegas. That's how high class the venue is, and Rumble Time Promotions.
Absolutely. Rumble Time Promotions does it, in my opinion, my personal opinion, better than anybody else in the St. Louis market. They're doing such a fantastic job. And again, huge shout out to Blake Fisher and Steve Smith for advocating for this particular historic fight.
All right, Brian, as we wrap things up with you tonight, where can they go to find out more information about your organization?
You can check out Fighting for Autism on Facebook at facebook.com/fightingforautism, at Twitter at Fight for Autism, and on Pinterest at FFA USA, actually, and www.fightingforautism.com.
Sounds good. Brian Higginbotham, Fighting for Autism. We appreciate your time here on the show. Great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you out there on November 7th.
I appreciate you having me.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian. All right, we are live. We're going to bring on Casey here from... Come on, Casey, jump on the show here with us. Casey is from Bobby's on North Main Street, 143 North Main Street. We appreciate your time coming out from behind the bar to talk to us a little bit. Tell us, you want to keep that up nice and close to your mouth there. Tell us what separates you with so many bars and restaurants down here on the St. Charles Landing. What separates you from the other ones?
We're a huge family here. We love all of our regulars that we've had for over many years have come in, and they've been a huge family to us. So you come in and we treat you like family. It's very open. We're very vibrant. We're always, screaming at everybody that walks in, hey, welcome, we have great specials day and night throughout the week. And we just all love bringing new friends, family, everybody in throughout the day. We love meeting everybody. So it's a great place to work, too.
What about the food? We can't talk about specific prices of liquor and all that kind of good stuff. But talk to us about the food.
It's great. We have a huge variety.
There you go. Nice.
A lot of our foods go from, specific bar appetizers to big entrees. We have a huge variety of appetizers going from, chicken strips to catfish nuggets. We have, big variety of that. We go to steaks, pastas, sandwiches, wraps, salads. We have a huge variety. So anybody that can come in, they're going to find something they love.
What's your favorite?
That's a hard one.
Now, is the chef listening?
Yeah, maybe. I probably like a lot of our wraps. They're really good. There's a lot in them, and they're big. You get a good portion, and then you get a side as well. So they're good portions of everything.
What about the atmosphere here right now? Games on all the TVs. Anywhere you look, you're going to find a TV.
Yes, anywhere. And if you have a specific game you want to watch, the managers and everything are very well of turning the TV for you, so if you want to watch it, Cardinals games are always on. We're big on Blues, so if you love the Blues, always be here for the Blues, because we are big at, every time I'm working the Blues are on, I feel like the place is going to fall down. So
how did Bobby's get its name then?
From Mr. Bobby Plager himself, great guy. He played hockey back in the day for me, but he's a great guy. They started it with his name, and he pops in here every once in a while, so it's nice to see him and him come in, and the customers, love it. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Bobby Plager, and so they really like that.
What about the hours of the establishment? You open every day of the week?
Yep, we're open every day of the week, 11 o'clock, and then we close at about 1:15 every night, except for Sundays at midnight.
Sounds good. What about the clientele here? Do you need to come specifically dressed, or is it just kind of you come how you want?
Pretty much come as you want. At night, we kind of have a little dress code, kind of stay, classy. We don't like the bagginess of anything, We want you to look nice, presentable, but for the day, you can come comfortable, whatever you like, and, we all dress comfortable. We want you to be comfortable. We always like to look nice for our customers, though, because we want them to come back and, really enjoy being around us.
All right, if you had one thing to maybe sell everybody on why they should come here, this is your opportunity. Everybody across St. Louis right now to tell them why they should come down and visit Bobby's.
All right. Bobby's is an amazing atmosphere. I've been here for about 2.5 years, and I can't leave. I love the girls that work here. You'll become best friends with them as a regular. You know, you'll want to come in just to talk to them more. Our food is, it literally is absolutely amazing. I don't say that just because I'm here. But if I didn't work here, I would love to come here because the girls will sit there, they'll talk to you, they'll learn about you, they'll learn about your life, and it just makes you want to come back every day. Like, you just want to come back nonstop.
Just to watch the interaction of you guys up at the bar behind us here, laughing and joking. Do you have a lot of repeat type customers? Once you come here, you just feel comfortable, you want to come back?
Since I've been here, pretty much since we've opened, I've had the same regulars. Since day one, they've been here. Every time I'm here, I always see them, and they're always here. So it's a great atmosphere to come, and they've been here forever, so you can tell. It's great to be here and talk to us. We love, any girl that works here is super outgoing and loves to talk. So if you catch one of us, we probably will talk your ear off about something.
Sounds good. We are at Bobby's here on 143 North Main Street. Come out tonight and enjoy the food, the refreshments, the entertainment, the atmosphere. The Cardinals are on TV tonight, so make sure and come out and enjoy that. Casey, we appreciate your time. Did a great job here on the show, and stay with us. We've got much more. Brian Higginbotham's going to be back with us for Fighting for Autism, talking about the fights on November 7th at the Ameristar Casino. We want to thank SozOSTL.com for all their support here on the show, and Rumble Time Promotions. Come out and visit us. We're live here at Bobby's on 143 North Main Street in St. Charles. Stay with us. I'm Randy Gardner here on Sports Radio STL on 590 The Fan. And welcome back to Sports Radio STL here on 590 The Fan. Randy Gardner alongside Brian Higginbotham from Fighting for Autism. Gary B on, I'm going to say on assignment, but that means on vacation for Gary B. We're talking, as I mentioned, Fighting for Autism. And as you saw in the last segment, if you come down here to Bobby's on 143 North Main Street here in St. Charles. Great food, great beverage. Come down here and enjoy the entertainment. The Cardinals on this evening. Great atmosphere down here at Bobby's on 143 North Main Street. All right, let's talk about this fight. We've been kind of teasing them all night long on how to get tickets to this thing. Where can they go?
All right, everybody, you definitely want to be there. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be groundbreaking, historic. There's some amazing fights on the card. Rumble Time Promotions presents Triumph, Friday, November 7th at Ameristar Casino. Tickets start at $40, just $40 for this amazing show. It's great. They're available from the fighters on the card. They're available from MetroTix.com or by calling 314-662-2000. 314-662-2000. And the doors open at 6 p.m. The first bell will ring at 7:30 p.m. and that's when the action starts. And it's going to be just a phenomenal card. It's a great card. You don't want to miss it.
When a lot of people think, they see all these movies and they think, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to walk into in terms of, is this a basement with a little ring set up and people fighting and there's smoke in the air like the good old Rocky movies and stuff? When you go to the Ameristar, this is first class entertainment. It's things that rival what you see in Las Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. Ameristar Casino does a phenomenal job as a host. You'll walk in, you'll have the ambiance of seeing the cage and seeing the fighters walking around before their fights, a little, some nervous, some not, some very confident fighters walking around. You'll be 15 feet, 20 feet tops away from that cage, so you're going to get that first-hand experience of living kind of the fighter lifestyle in a sense. You'll see the fights. It's a wonderful casino environment. It has drinks and bars all around with waitresses that'll take care of your needs with food and beverage. You'll see the fighters again. You will see the catwalk set up that Rumble Time Promotions is notorious for, with bringing their fighter entrances out and putting on a top-notch production for the fans. So it's 1, 2, 3, everything you want to see in a fight, and it definitely rivals anything you'll see anywhere else.
And when you throw the name out, Rumble Time Promotions, through the years, this has become a major brand, not only here in the St. Louis area, but across the country. Steve Smith, Blake Fisher, the whole group over there, they do a wonderful job.
Oh my gosh, Steve Smith, Blake Fisher, Bob Barton, the whole Rumble Time crew in general, phenomenal individuals. They stepped up to advocate also for Garrett Holla versus David Stefan. They were the first forerunners really in saying, hey, we want to take place and help make these individuals live their dream and give them their shot. So huge shout out for these individuals for not only being great fight promoters, but great philanthropists in general and sticking up for people that need an extra hand and voice.
Now, have you fought before?
I have not. I have not taken that step. That's a little too much for me. I don't think I could handle that, quite honestly. I've had the experience of officiating fights and promoting events over the years individually and stuck to the business side, I think, more so of it. I've had a group of fighters that I've trained and put into the fights, but never stepped into the ring myself, no.
I'm right with you. I'm not man enough to step in there. We used to, shoot some of these events, and I'll tell you what, to stand on that ring and shoot video with the camera, that is close enough. There's a lot. I can say the word athleticism a million times. That doesn't even come close to what these guys do in the ring. And gals.
Oh, yeah, it's both.
I won't even get with the ring with a gal.
Right, absolutely not. And some of these fighters on the card on the pro side, I've helped or I've officiated their fights through their amateur career. So it's interesting to see the progression of somebody from the very first fight all the way through their professional career. Some of these guys are just top-notch athletes. I wouldn't even be able to last personally 2 minutes in the ring. I would gas out fast enough. So some of these guys that go 15 minutes, 20 minutes and more in training every single day just to prepare for their fight that may last 15 seconds. They put a lot of heart and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this game, and they deserve the crowd, the local people around St. Louis to come out and watch them compete, and that's who they put it out for. They don't fight for themselves, they fight for the people that are out there, and quite honestly, the louder the crowd gets, the harder they fight, and that's what we love seeing.
I was looking at some of the rules here on the sanctioning alliance from Spire. Only jabs and crosses are allowed when striking, no kicks to the head, shins guards required, no slams, no ground and pound to the head. Are these basic rules or are they adjusted rules?
No, those are modified rules. Those are rules for Garrett Holla versus David Stefan. Garrett's father, Mitch, and David, and Garrett and David, for that matter, have become quite friendly over the last several years of trying to advocate for their own fight. They agreed on these rules from a safety perspective. They're outside of the traditional mixed martial arts rules that Spire Sanctioning Alliance puts forth, but it's for a safety measure. They're not in there to kill each other. They want to get their experience of fighting like anybody else gets. So we've modified the rules from a safety perspective. The general crowd, a layman, so to speak, even a fight fan may not notice the difference outside of it being publicized that the rules are different for these guys, but it is in there for a safety perspective. It's something that they've agreed upon in advance. So we did put those rules in place through Spire for that reason alone.
You had talked with autism, sometimes there's sensory overload. Is there worry about when they're in the ring with the extensive crowd and the noise that could affect them?
If Garrett and David actually both don't have autism, Garrett has Down syndrome, which is an extra chromosome. Basically, it's a genetic disability. It's something that doesn't affect his physical capabilities for Garrett individually. And David, with monoplegic cerebral palsy, only affects his left side. So from a sensory perspective, it won't affect them. If my son had gone to a show, it would absolutely be a sensory overload with the lights, the sound, the smoke, the crowd, the great announcer in Dave Davis, and everything else that goes into a fight show. So I'm not unfortunately able to take him. He's a huge fight fan, though. He's 3.5 years old, but he's a huge fight fan. He loves watching it on TV. I wouldn't dare bring him to a show because of the sensory aspect, though.
And one more time, where can someone go to find out more information?
To find out more information, you can go to metrotix.com to purchase tickets. They start at $40. You'll see some information on the Rumble Time Promotions Facebook page, as well as the Fighting for Autism Facebook page. They can get tickets from fighters, metrotix.com, or by calling 314-662-2000. Tickets start at only $40, and it's definitely worth it, especially with the card that's taking place on that night, in addition to Garrett and David's fight.
And you can go to rumbletimepromotions.com to find out more information on the rest of the card that evening. We are live down here at Bobby's on 143 North Main Street. Stop by and enjoy the Cardinals game tonight. We've got great food, great refreshment, great atmosphere to come down and enjoy the show brought to you tonight by SportsRadioSTL.com. If you haven't tried the coffee, if you haven't tried the energy drinks, you've got to try some of this stuff. Talk to Gary B about that, but go to SportsRadioSTL.com to find out more information. And a big thanks to Steve Smith and Blake Fisher and the whole group over there at Rumble Time Promotions for not only supporting the show, but supporting so many things and opportunities for people here in the St. Louis area. What are you going to feel like when you sit in the crowd that night and it all comes to fruition? Now you're watching them in the ring.
It's going to be very interesting for me. It was a floating experience, quite honestly, speaking with Mitch, with Garrett's father. He and I have been very close and become very close over the last several months of advocating for this fight. So when I told him first about the fact that we had gotten everything approved and we were just looking at scheduling, it was a floating feeling then. I'm positive it's going to be the same. We're actually putting a Fighting for Autism organizational title on the line for these guys to give them the full experience of fighting. So it's going to be, it's hard to explain, I think, the feeling that I'm personally going to feel, and I'm sure Blake and Steve will feel the same way as being such big advocates for this individual fight. But I really can't wait, and I really don't want to see someone lose. But it's going to happen, and the better athlete that night is going to come out with a Fighting for Autism organizational title.
Now, do they understand the whole aspect of a winner and loser in this? It seems like the fight has been so long to get to where they are. They're both winners just from being in the ring, but unfortunately one will win and one will lose.
Hey, they're both superheroes for even enduring the fight for 2 years, looking for some place to give them their equal opportunity to fight. Anybody with any kind of label should never be discriminated against. We're all people. We all should have their equal rights regardless, and they're right. All they wanted to do is put their training to the test, step in the ring against each other in an equal sanctioned capacity fight, and see who the better man is that night. I think they're both heroes ultimately for everybody out there living with a disability, just to open doors for themselves and say, hey, never give up, stay strong, fight through your individual battles, and come out in triumph, as the show is labeled for that night.
And tonight we're talking basically, about boxing and MMA and stuff, but this is a struggle that goes on with soccer, with baseball, with any sport that is out there.
Absolutely, and sporting events are one of the most therapeutic things that a child can do. From being a parent, you want to get your kid out there with other peer individuals, people of all different ability levels, in a team environment, in an individual environment, and let them thrive. And I think that opening the doors for any parent that has a child out there, even with a disability, get them out there, let them experience life to the fullest, and give them a fair go at life. That's what we advocate for.
Well, Brian, I can't applaud you enough for what you've done, what you're doing, what you continue to do. Look forward to being out there that night. We'll be out there, shoot some footage of this groundbreaking activity. Best of luck with everything you do. And one more time, as we start to wrap things up here today, how can they find out more information?
Rumble Time Promotions presents Triumph Friday, November 7th at Ameristar Casino. The doors will open at 6 p.m. The first bell will ring at 7:30. Tickets start at just $40. They're available from fighters, from MetroTix.com, or by calling 314-662-2000, or they could check out more information on Facebook, social media, and RumbleTimePromotions.com.
We are live down here at Bobby's on Main Street, 143 North Main Street. Come down and enjoy the establishment. Great atmosphere down here, especially on the weekend nights. But come down here any night, anytime during the day. It's a great place to be. The show tonight brought to you by SozOSTL.com, also RumbleTimePromotions.com. That event at the Ameristar on November 7th. Make sure and get those tickets for that. It's going to be something that you're going to be able to tell your grandkids about, that you were part of that event. And as we wrap things up here tonight, Brian, what would you want to say to every parent out there who struggles on a day-to-day basis, who lives, as you mentioned, with a child that is 400%, you mentioned 400% harder to raise than, per se, I don't want to say normal, but an average kid?
Sure, over a neurotypical or typically developing individual. I say stay strong, fight the fight, live life to the fullest. Don't let anybody or anything hold you back. Everything that you do for your child should be done in their best interest. And if you need help, support, or assistance, get in touch with us, and we'll do whatever we can to have your back, because we fight for you.
Sounds good, Brian. Thanks so much. Once again, Brian Higginbotham, Fight for Autism. Thank you so much for being here on the show tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Randy Gardner, Gary B. on vacation. We will be back next week. We rotate between Bobby's here in St. Charles on Main Street, the Bobby's in Mid-County, and also the Ameristar Casino. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you at the fights, right?
Absolutely.
November 7th at the Ameristar. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Radio STL. I'm Randy Gardner. Have a good evening.